Yo, what's up guys? I can finally bring you a more well-rounded version of my Thorns double swing build. My setup focuses on pure damage to really brute force those Ur bosses, more about that in the gear section of the video. I killed a world tier 4 Lord Zir for example as early as level 56. Also a little disclaimer here, it is a speed farming setup and solely serves the purpose to level up fast and efficiently, with a very good clear speed in overworld events and Helltide, thanks to the new Dust Devil procs and Thorns. I'm also rocking the super heavy hitting double swing against pesky objectives or bosses like Tomb Lords, which I usually struggled with when playing Thorns. Therefore, I have the perfect balance between speed and bossing, which is important for me as a solo player. Feel free to make use of the timestamps in the description to skip around the video. With that being said, let's get right into it. Yeah, sadly this is only a tier 35, which is totally perfectly fine for leveling, because the monsters are close to my level, to my character level. Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm spamming more than Nightmare Dungeons to get glyph XP and also to craft higher keys, right? That's the next milestone for my build now. To unlock the pit, I need to clear a tier 64 Nightmare Dungeon. That's not the best dungeon for the build, but okay. So yeah, you pull them, and if they are not dead, that was a 30k Thorns non-crit, of course. But yeah, Thorns hits them for around 30,000, which is insane actually without Razorblade. So if they don't even die already because of Thorns, yeah, I just smack them, I send them straight into the blender here. Like, it's a really good combo. There's a lot of things that proc immediately. Like you pull them. You see I have a little Fire Nova proc here. So I pull them, vulnerable, berserk, Fire Nova proc. Then they get hit with Thorns and I spam double swing. So that's really, really strong because it's only pure offense. Yeah, defense is not even required at this point. That's why I played that way. I will show you the Paragon Board and the Skilltree here in a second, of course. I have a really nice scaling within the next 10 to 15 level. And I get the defensive layers I need to push the higher dungeons within this Paragon Board. But as of now, for leveling, I don't really feel the need for any... I don't need to be overly tanky, right? I rather have some damage to be able to farm bosses like Lord Zir, for example, to have a very early chance for Razorblade. So you see, this would have been a real ugly elite pack. So he just died. He just died. The build works also really well in all the overworld events, like things like Legion, Helltide. Like this would be usually a problem, objectives like this. You just one-shot it with double swing and move on. On one I have the challenging shout, which increases the Thorns damage, so I click this first usually. And the other shouts, I have the heads so they look at each other. As simple as it is. That's how I play my Thorns pop ever since. On 4 I have the grabber. Yeah, on left click I have my flay, which gives a shit ton of buffs and also these decent chunk of damage. On right click, I have double swing. Movement speed is a little bit slow. I will focus on better boots. My boots are pretty messed up, not gonna lie. I should have kept the Iron Wolf ones, to be perfectly frank with you. Hups, 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 and they dead. Like so, I spam Cleaver. I put all my XP into Cleaver to scale up the crit damage or double swing. Because I show you the scaling now, right? So first of all, with around level 70, I had 3 glyphs online. That's a good sign, I would say. If I compare this to all my other classes, I played all the classes to a level 100. And if I compare them to my other setups while leveling, like with around level 70 to have 3 glyphs online, that's solid, most definitely. Also, now that I can farm the Nightmare Dungeons, I have access to all the glyphs. So the very first one I'm using, boom, straight up 100% dust level damage within the very first glyph. Really, really, really good. Also very easy to unlock in this board here. The next one is Blood Rage. The killing a bleeding enemy as a chance to grant Berserk is obsolete because this build has 100% Berserking uptime, but it's about the second sentence, which gives basically just flat damage. Got some more damage multipliers here, damage while Berserking, Berserk duration, that's all good stuff. This comes in handy later. So boom, the next board is Warbringer. Warbringer will make me super, super, super tanky. As of now, okay, that's a bad example. I'm full fortified. Oh no. But usually I would press my shouts and I have like a little bit of fortify. Not even 50% yet. But within the next 10 levels or so, I will nicely scale into this here. And all of a sudden I'm super tanky. Exactly the moment I need to be tanky when farming more difficult content, right? So that's what I'm going to do next. Unlocking Warbringer. The glyph I have here is, as I mentioned, Cleaver. Almost 30% damage with Axes. It counts for Flay and for Double Swing in my case. And yeah, crit damage is overall really nice scaling for Double Swing. Boom. Then the next board is Carnage. While Berserking, crit strikes increase my attack speed. So as I move on within a dungeon, for example, or against the boss fight, I get faster and faster and faster. So all of a sudden, hitting, like the gloves say I need to hit Double Swing 4 times. Well, all of a sudden that's super fast, right? And you get like even several procs of those gloves within one boss fight. That's why I'm using Carnage here. Yeah, and the plan for now, within the next few levels, that's also what you will see in the planner, is going into Warbringer and leveling up here to unlock another glyph socket. All my glyphs as of now are pure damage. And the fourth glyph will be a little bit more defensive one. There are several options in my opinion. I could go with Territorial. It's a good mix between offense and defense. Ira is a really good one. For every 5 strength purchase within range, I get more damage. And also damage reduction from elites. That's really, really nice. Meaning against bosses and stuff, and like the ridiculous new monsters in Helltide, like, oof, they hit like a truck. Like a tier 5 juiced up Hellborn with a Mind Cage. There's no way. That's like 10 times stronger than the World Boss. But yeah, there are several options. That's what happens next in this board. I didn't show you the third one. Revenge. This glyph is so nice for my setup. Holy moly. Just read that. Dealing thorns damage to an enemy. And I deal always thorns. Well, I don't even have to worry about it. The monsters deal thorns damage to themselves, right? This buff is always up. Increases all damage they take by X%. So the monster hits me. They get reflected thorns damage. They effectively casted a debuff on themselves, which says I hit them even harder with Double Swing. That's how revenge works in my build. So nice, man. This skill tree here for a second. Yeah, using Flay because it gives so much for the build. By just using a basic attack, more or less. Like it makes them vulnerable. It gives me DR. It deals decent damage as well. It deals a little bit of bleed damage. This is not a bleed barb or anything, but it's about cooldown reduction. Increases the thorns damage. It's like it gives 4, 5, 6 different things, right? By just attacking. Into Double Swing. The most important part about Double Swing is the infinite uptime of Berserk. Because for those of you who don't know, I will show this real quick. Proc Berserking with this, right? Or with a shout. And then you can keep the buff up infinitely. If I really wanted to. So that's really, really nice. That's possible. That's possible thanks due to Furious Double Swing. Maxing out the passives here, Imposing Presence and Martial Rigor to get super tanky. 1 point in the Warcry. You can swap this around if you feel the need to have more resource regeneration. I was using this before I had the rings. Outskills generate Fury, Berserking generates Fury. It's super strong and covers all my needs for resource. But before I had that, I've been using a tactical rallying cry instead. Damn, 5 into outburst and 5 into toughness. GG, bro. We can roll Thorn's passives on chest, pants, and boots. But it would be stupid to have it on the chest because there's an item called Razor Blade. Okay. Why would you? Only if you don't even have a Razor Blade yet, I guess. But yeah, super crazy. I cannot roll it any longer on the amulet, but I will get Pit Fighter plus skills on the amulet instead, which is crazy. Damage to close enemies has always been good in the game, even though some values were off, some values were bugged. The start of this game was a little rocky. Damage to close enemies was always GG. Yeah, maxing out those, of course. 1 point challenging shot to increase the Thorns damage by a click of a button. That's crazy. That's how I go from 5k to almost 11k Thorns by clicking this shout. Super strong for the build. 1 point in Warcry into Mighty Warcry, even more Fortify. Especially needed before Warbringer. Before the passive that makes us tanky. I got rid of Raid Leader because most of the time I'm a solo player. Sometimes I swap this around. Best example would be at the Word Boss, right? Buff up my mates and heal my mates a little bit, whatever. And also I don't have to move much in the Word Boss fight, so I get rid of swiftness. Max out Raid Leader instead. Maxing out aggressive resistance here and prolific fury because the build revolves all around berserking, right? Getting nice buffs here. Green to Pit Fighter, as I mentioned, strong damage to close enemies. 1 point into Steel Grasp and into Fighter Steel Grasp. That's just, it does several things for the build. Like, first of all, they are crowd controlled as soon as they got hit. And also procs vulnerable, which is not that necessary anymore, but that's the main source of berserking here, next to the shout. And also, it's perfect for the speed farming setup. In like tryhard mode later on, I think I will get rid of this and have rather a defensive ability more. But like, it's just so nice in terms of gameplay flow to not always have to approach every single monster. I think it's way more fun to open a freaking door, grab the fucking elites over here and smack him with double swing and move on. So this is really good and speeds up your speed by a lot. 1 into thick skin, maxing out counter offensive. Pretty nice damage multiplier while fortified. And duelist 3 out of 3 here because I use my axes with flay and also with double swing. This tends to have a little bit more attack speed. For the keystone passive, I use unconstrained. It's even more damage while berserking, and yeah, GG works all well together. I tested this a lot, and that's the skill tree I settled with. But yeah, the fun part about this whole Thorns shenanigans is, like, as much as I like rolling crit everywhere, especially if I play a rogue or something, it's also chill to not worry about these stats. Like, there's not this gear or stat pressure while playing a Thorns Barb, because Thorns cannot crit, and you scale Thorns damage up at best with strength and life and things like this, like super basic stats. Yeah, pretty much every item you find has strength or life on it, so that's your best slot item right there. Super cool. Thanks to tempering, you can even go absolutely crazy. You could mix and match this however you want. It's a little bit of a hybrid build. Some people probably lean more towards double swing. I did lean more towards Thorns. So yeah, could roll crit and stuff like this, or more attack speed and things like this if you really want double swing. But to get the highest value of Thorns possible, I would try to achieve, and what I think is around 100,000 buffed up, I roll stats like this pretty much everywhere on my gear. The aspect here is super nice. I tried several ones, but casting a skill, that's all I do. I get straight up heal. When I cast it below 50%, I get 4% heal. Does not sound much, but keep in mind, it's all we do in this build, scaling life. So 4% is a shit ton of life. Rage of Harrogate, as of now, like, it's not a bleed build or whatever, but the cooldown reduction shenanigans, it's a nice mechanic. It's a nice, neat little mechanic for early on. I've been using this always, but yeah, it will be replaced by a Razor Blade. If you cannot get your hand on the Razor Blade and or want to PvP, or want to spam Nightmare T100 dungeons, you should try to roll a defensive chess piece and use Iron Skin, and use the aspect that Iron Skin gives unstoppable. That's really good. So we always have a panic button ready, you know what I mean? So yeah, either Harrogate, Razor Blade, or the Iron Skin chest piece I would use. The gloves are GG. The gloves in combination with my aspect here, Inner Calm, when I stand still, and let's say I face tank a boss, that's the moments where I stand still. So the gloves and Inner Calm are my secret tech against bosses in single target. Because yeah, the 4th hit will probably happen after 3 seconds. And it will chunk bosses' lives away. It's really good. Yeah, I did underrate double swing a little bit, not gonna lie. Pants here, again, just basic stats, just print life everywhere. I have only 1 roll of armor, and I'm almost capped on armor, right? So they did change something to this as well. So something like Juggernaut is overkill? Question mark. When I'm almost maxed out with 1 armor roll. But yeah, that's what I'm rocking for now. The aspect here, again, there are no defenses in my aspect whatsoever. It's just pure damage. Yeah, to kill a boss real quick in like 2 shout rotations. So I deal 40% increased damage against unstoppable things, monsters, bosses, certain monster types, players as well. The boots, they are super scuffed, but tough as nails is important here, and the aspect is important here. Everything else is crap here, sadly. But yeah, good old Metamorphosis from Season 2, the only source of unstoppable I have as of now, and it's sufficient enough. Weapon here, double swing, casts Dust Devils. Yeah, gets the highest value if I print it on a 2-hander. That's what's up. The tempering is very important here. 210% Dust Devil damage. It's only this one weapon, right? I was super lucky I got it in a max roll. But yeah, I have it here as well. It's 410% Dust Devil damage already, just from like these 2 weapons and 2 temperings. The stats, again, Brand, Fly, Flat Damage, Dust Devil damage, damage to close enemies is all neat. Damage while berserking would be nice. Even is vulnerable damage still in the game in terms of stats? That would be nice. But yeah, get Inner Calm. Really, get Inner Calm with Twin Strikes. You will obliterate objectives and bosses. It's bonkers. The next X here, pretty much the same roll as the other one in terms of stats. But the aspect here, while berserking, and well, the build is always berserking, right? I get a fire proc. Sadly, this is a min roll, almost. That's one of the only aspects I really look forward to get a max roll with. That makes a real big difference if I fight the boss. And let's say the boss fight takes like half a minute. It's half a minute non-stop fire damage on them. Because Berserk is up all the time. Hence this little fire aura ticks non-stop. It's so good in terms of damage buckets and stuff. It might be not too bad to sprinkle a little bit of fire damage in the build, you know what I'm saying? So it works really great. Been using this in Season 1 already. I've seen a lot of Once Barbs using this, so Burning Rage is GG here. I said that wrong in the first video, stupid me, man, but realizing it after crafting the gear more and min-maxing the gear more, like I had the Shout one on the Amulet. The Shout one to proc Dust Devils should be on the 2-hander. I get a little bit more damage that way. And the Needle Flare, to have a 360-degree reflect damage, chance at least, is on the Amulet now instead. And it gives me exactly 9% more. So in the other video I had this on the weapon and it said 50, so it's way better. Yeah, resource management I love this 1-2 combo here, because the build is always berserking and the build has almost always a shout up. Hence the regeneration is just crazy, right? Generation is just crazy. A resource cost reduction is nice. If you have resource cost reduction somewhere on the gear, it's not too bad. It's not that necessary because I'm not really spamming double swing, but against in boss fight situations, it's nice to make this cost a little less. I tried also an aspect which said I have a chance to get a few % refunded of the resource cost. Bruh, this made the build super clunky. I hated it. I hated it so much. So this is way better. Like, this is all trial and error, right? And yeah, I settled with this combo of aspects and stats and Skilltree and Paragon Board, and it works pretty darn good. Yeah, thanks for watching. That's pretty much it for this video, guys. If you found this useful, feel free to give it a like, consider subscribing, and yeah, have a good one, guys. Later.